Michael Penix Jr.'s path to the 2024 NFL Draft has been a journey filled with a ton of adversity. The soon-to-be 24-year-old quarterback has returned from 4 season-ending injuries in 4 years at Indiana before transferring to Washington. Since he has arrived at Washington, he has thrived, throwing for more than 9,500 yards, leading the Huskies to a 24-3 record in 2 seasons. Now he shifts his focus to the NFL Draft next week, where he hopes to hear his name during Thursday's first round. This is the story of Michael Penix Jr. This is the story of the quarterback that refused to give up. But before we get into this, if you enjoy college football and spring league football content like this, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. Also, let me know who your favorite quarterback is in this year's NFL Draft in the comment section below. Michael Penix Jr. was born on May 8, 2000 and grew up in Dade City, Florida. Dade City is a small rural town known for their country fair and Kumquat Festival. Penix's mom ran track at Tennessee Tech in Cooksville, Tennessee, where Michael was actually born, while his dad ran for 2,000 rushing yards in his career at Tech and holds the single-game rushing record for the school with 261 rushing yards. Michael, who would go on to be known as Little Mike in Dade City, would take his first step in the south end zone of the W.F. Edwards Stadium at Pasco High School, where his father was an all-state player. His dad at the time was serving as an assistant coach at the school, so when he came to practice, the trainers would watch Little Mike. Mike loved running through the house and throwing the football up in the air and catching it, and as a kid, his parents let him try everything: football, baseball, basketball, track, and soccer. Little Mike saw the game differently than others, always being a little more mature at a younger age. He could run and he could throw the ball at an age most kids couldn't. He was so impressive on and off the field that even his grandmother felt like they should get him a private quarterback coach to help him refine his skills. In middle school, Little Mike began working with renowned quarterback coach Chip Bennett, with Bennett telling the Tampa Bay Times, and he was raw, but I remember getting in the car calling John Calio, a staff member of Bennett's and former Maryland and Tampa Bay Storms quarterback, saying, "We have a Power 5 quarterback." Brad Starling, Pasco High School's offensive coordinator, recommended that Michael play on the varsity as a freshman to get important reps in and against older players. Little Mike served as the backup for most of the season behind Grant Starling, Brad's son, until Grant got hurt. Little Mike made his first varsity start in a must-win district showdown against rival Hernando on October 17, 2014. The Pirates committed 3 early turnovers and gave up a safety when a tailback was tackled in the end zone, but Little Mike responded with a touchdown pass of 19 and 4 yards to help rally his team to a 24-2 victory. With Grant graduating the following year, Michael would take over the starting quarterback job, having 5 touchdowns in the spring game against Wiregrass Ranch. Penix would struggle during his sophomore season with a new offensive coordinator coming to town, who ran a wing T offense. After a 4-6 season ended with a 50-16 loss to rival Zephyrhills, the Penix family decided a change was needed. His father explained, "You can't have a quarterback like Michael in the wing T. He's never been a running quarterback. That's what people don't understand. He's never been a running quarterback, ever. Now people think he can't run, but they're dead wrong. He just doesn't like to run. That's not his game." Bennett suggested that the Penix family look at Tampa Bay Tech, who ran a spread offense. The family ultimately chose to move to Riverview, and coach Jason Roberts knew he had a special player on his hands during the school's 7v7 league matchup. Roberts recalled, "He threw an out from one hash to the opposite sideline on a frozen rope, and everybody kind of stopped. It was a deep out. My offense coordinator and I kind of looked at each other and were like, that ain't normal." A few weeks later, quarterback Trent Wyatt, who had helped take Tampa Bay Tech to the playoffs the year before, offered to change positions because he knew Michael was a special quarterback. Behind his 2,078 yards and 31 touchdowns and 1 interception, Little Mike led Tampa Bay Tech to a 9-2 record into the playoffs. In a 48-45 double overtime win against St. Petersburg in a first-round playoff game, his 55-yard fourth-quarter strike to Daquan Green set up the game-tying touchdown by, of all people, Wyatt. Unfortunately, Tampa Bay Tech would fall to Eastlake 20-14 on the road. Penix would be even more impressive his senior year, leading the Titans to the Class 6A regional finals behind his 2,165 passing yards, 30 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions, meaning in 2 years Michael threw 3 interceptions, with Roberts claiming 2 of those were tipped passes. Michael was also named the Offensive Player of the Year for Hillsborough County. On top of succeeding at football, he also impressed on the basketball court as a forward and on the baseball diamond as a center fielder. Coming out of high school according to 24/7 Sports Composite, Michael Penix Jr. was a 3-star recruit who was the 21st best pro-style quarterback and 548th best player in the 2018 recruiting class. He received over 11 different Division I offers from the likes of Arizona, Florida State, Indiana, Oregon, and Tennessee. He originally committed to Tennessee before Butch Jones was fired that November. Once the new coaching staff came in, they decided to pull the offer on Penix a few days before the early signing period. Head coach Jeremy Pruitt and co. made it clear they did not want Penix, and Michael decided to take to social media to let everybody know his decommitment wasn't his choice. He would instead commit to Indiana, ending a frustrating recruiting process, and his head coach felt like Michael was under-recruited. Michael would deal with a lot of adversity at Indiana, which makes what he would do later on in his career even more impressive. During his freshman year, he got to play in 3 games, but would tear his ACL and would redshirt. Heading into 2019, Penix would win the starting quarterback job under offensive coordinator Kalen DeBoer. Penix was electric in his first 2 starts of the season, throwing for 523 yards and 3 touchdowns. In blowout wins, would miss the Ohio State and UConn games with an undisclosed injury before returning against Michigan State. He played well in the next 4 games, but a clavicle injury required surgery, would lead to him only playing in 6 games that season. He finished the season 5-1 as a starting quarterback, throwing for 1,394 yards, 10 touchdowns, and 4 interceptions. In the shortened 2020 season, he played amazing, leading Indiana to a 5-1 record and a top 10 ranking before having his season ended once again by another torn ACL. He finished the year throwing for 1,645 yards, 14 touchdowns, and 4 interceptions, while also rushing for 2 touchdowns on the ground. He returned in 2021 hoping for a strong and healthy season, would only be able to play in 5 games, sustaining a shoulder injury that ended his season early. As the 2021 season came to a close, Indiana finished 2-10, losing all the remaining games without Michael. Penix was mentally and physically crushed, explained to Pac-12 Network. The day of the game, I'd wake up and I would just lay on the floor and pray to God to protect me that day because I knew where my head was at the time. It was a lot of tears. He had fought back from 4 straight season-ending injuries, but felt like it was time for a change of scenery, so he decided to enter the transfer portal, where he was rated as a 3-star recruit. He explained his decision to enter the transfer portal, saying, "I just feel like, for me, I was trying to find a new home. I wanted to just get a fresh start. That was my biggest reason, just trying to find myself and myself as a person, as a player. When I was in the portal, Coach DeBoer, he was always someone that as soon as I hit the portal, I'm like, where is he going? Where is he at the time?" Due to his injury history, only 2 schools would reach out to him, UCF and Washington. The decision seemed easy for Penix, as choosing Washington meant reuniting with Kalen DeBoer. Penix explained to Sports Illustrated, "I just feel like we've always had that trust and that belief in one another since our time at Indiana. Even though it was short, I feel like we built a great relationship through that time. So I feel like I knew what I was getting, and he had a feeling what he knew he was getting with me as well. The biggest thing was just making sure it was a good fit for myself, and it definitely was. Obviously, as you could see. Little Mike helped rebuild a struggling Washington team, leading them to an 11-2 record in 2022, while throwing for 4,641 yards, 31 touchdowns, and only 8 interceptions, while also rushing for 4 touchdowns on the ground. He was named 2nd team All-Pac-12 and AP Comeback Player of the Year. Most importantly, he remained healthy throughout the season, restoring his confidence. Michael chose to return to Washington this past year, but would have his best season yet, throwing for 4,903 yards, 36 touchdowns, and 11 interceptions, while also rushing for 3 touchdowns on the ground. He was named an All-American and finished as a Heisman Trophy runner-up, which I feel he should have won, and led Washington to the Pac-12 title and an undefeated record heading into the college football playoff. In the semifinals, they beat Texas but would lose to Michigan in the championship game to finish the year 14-1. Once again, Michael Penix Jr. was able to stay healthy and may have launched himself into the first-round contention for the 2024 NFL Draft next week. I am extremely excited to see how he does in the NFL, and I hope his injuries are all in the rearview mirror. What do you think? Where will Michael Penix Jr. be drafted next week? Let me know in the comment section below. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to check out one of my other videos YouTube thinks you will love right here. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, remember to embrace the grind.